Hello everyone, back tuning into the 4 Christmas update from Gaz Rabbit. So I've done 3 updates so far for Christmas, starting these on the 1st of November as always. They're going to get a little bit more regular as we get into the second half of the month. We'll start doing them a little bit more frequently. At the moment we're sort of doing them every third day, something like that. So we're up to update number 4 and we're at MetroSeal.fr. We're going to look at CFS V2 9-monthly forecast and see what the latest is showing for Christmas. So about an hour ago I did a live stream on YouTube. If you'd like to replay that live stream and see what we talked about, mainly of course the winter update, the 11th winter update, then the video is on the YouTube channel, and I'll embed it onto the homepage at Gazworthy so you can replay it back. Probably tomorrow morning I'll do that. So you get to have a listen and a replay of the live stream. Of course, we have released the 11th Winter 2019-2020 update as well today. That video will be placed on the Winter Updates page with a written summary, probably in around an hour or so's time, around 8 o'clock this evening. Busy old day at Gazworthy. Hope you're enjoying the content. Right, so the website, again, it's MetroSeal.fr. So we're looking at the CFS-V2 9-monthly forecast, the midday run. The CFS is run 4 times a day. Though we always endeavour to use the midday run for no particular reason other than that's the one we choose random, and it's always best if you can carry on with the same run of the model for these updates, so they can't be told off for cherry picking any particular outcome. This is purely the way the charts are coming out as we are doing the updates. We can't pinpoint the weather down to the exact day of Christmas, of course. At this stage it's far too early for that, so we're just looking for the broad trends within the CFS for kind of Christmas period, so December through to early January. And if we keep seeing the same pattern recurring week after or update after update, then that will tell us we have a trend, and that then therefore becomes the most likely outcome. And of course, sometimes you get a trend, it's the wrong trend, you just never know. So CFS V2 9-monthly forecast, midday run generated midday yesterday, the 9th of November. There's always a 24-hour delay on the charts coming through. And also just say, if you've got any Christmas shopping to do at Amazon between now and Christmas, please can you use the Gabs Christmas shop. So that's really easy. You either use the search widget or click through the Amazon banners. Of course, you're going from Gabs Office to Amazon to buy Christmas presents. We get a review fee on those presents that you're buying. A big thank you to everybody for doing that. Right then, let's get on with it. Going to start off on the 2nd of December, so at the start of December. And we've got low pressure to our southwest, and we've got high pressure up to our east. So this is bringing up sort of a southerly to southeasterly flow. Probably rain involved in that, but relatively mild temperatures, I would have thought. Moving through the first days of December, we find low pressure continues to be stuck out to west of us. High pressure is away to the east, so we're sort of in a no man's land there, really, neither under high pressure or low pressure, really. But I suspect it is a bit unsettled. There will be further showers, at the very least, maybe some longer spells of rain. We're up to the 8th of December, and this low pressure is going on a more southerly track. That's starting to tilt the wind round more to a southeasterly, so that could be starting to drag in some colder air from central parts of Europe, but it's still unsettled with low pressure down to the southeast, really struggling to get in across the country. So I suspect that will be relatively cold. There might even be a little bit of snow in with that, with those southeasters, and outbreaks of rain generally in the south and west. Any snow risk probably is further north. Then we go through into the second week of December, and another low pressure starts coming in from the Atlantic. That one again is having a go at pushing in, but it's struggling a little bit, although here it comes by the time you get through to the 11th of December. That low is actually started heading across the country. It's beginning to bring milder air with it for the south, so we've got the wind into the west there. Across southern parts of the country, that's a milder wind direction. Central northern areas are probably still quite cold. As these low pressure pushes in, there's probably snow involved in the transition for northern parts of the country anyway, and then we're going back into milder air down across the south. So we have reached the 12th of December. This is general election day. Of course, it looks very unsettled for this update with low pressure over the top of the country. That will bring a pretty wet and miserable general election, possibly still cold enough for snow as well up across Scotland. With that particular area of low pressure there. Otherwise, some milder wind direction, but could be some quite heavy rain. Moving up towards the middle part of December, that low pressure then starts to move away to our east. We build a ridge to the west, so that turns wind into the north. Colder air, excuse me, colder air begins to dig down from the north and the northeast, probably bring wintry showers to northern and eastern parts of the country, mainly dry out in the west. And there could be some quite hard frost with that, I would have thought, night and morning. So now we're up to the middle of December, and high pressure is ridging through the country. That's a cold ridge, bringing, no doubt, a lot of frost and maybe some freezing fog patches as well. Although westerlies are trying to re-establish out to the west, so just a little bit beyond the middle of December, we are now beginning to bring up a southwesterly. So up to the 16th of December, and milder west-southwesterly winds are beginning to move in, and probably some outbreaks of rain as well. So a little cold snap around the middle of the month, but then it starts to get milder. Right, let's try and get a bit closer to Christmas then, and we're up to the 18th of December. High pressure is beginning to re-establish now very close to the country. It's building in from the east as well, so this will be bringing quite a bit of cold air with it. It's not a proper easterly, it's just a slack flow coming in off the continent, but the continent will be quite cold this time of year, so under this ridge of high pressure, I suspect we will be looking at some pretty hard overnight frost there, and maybe some freezing fog patches as well. And this high pressure actually comes centred over the top of the country by the 20th of December. So 1,030 millibar ridge of high pressure over the top of the country is a cold ridge too. So we would expect hard frost with that night and morning, probably freezing fog patches as well, and daytime temperatures would be really strong. That's a big ridge of high pressure, 1,035 millibars. We're moving ever closer to Christmas. In fact, we're at the eve of Christmas Eve, 23rd of December, and we're under this big area of high pressure, so I suspect this is cold running up towards Christmas. Not snowy, it's very dry, of course, at about ridge of high pressure, but it would be cold from frost and also from fog too. So now we're at Christmas Eve, still under this ridge of high pressure, so that's a cold Christmas Eve with hard frost, and any freezing fog lingering in today would keep temperatures below freezing all day probably. Otherwise, again, daytime temperatures would be on the cold side anyway. This is how Christmas Day looks on the 4th Christmas update, and still at the ridge of high pressure, except in the far west, where weather front is beginning to move in, bring some outbreaks of rain in towards west of Ireland. But otherwise, we're under this ridge of high pressure again. We're mostly dry and probably still very cold, actually, with hard night frost. So it's not a snowy Christmas, this, but it is a cold, seasonal Christmas from frost. Boxing Day brings a little area of low pressure in from the west. That's trying to dislodge the cold air. It would either bring rain, maybe freezing rain even, or possibly a little bit of snow, would depend on the exact parameters within the atmosphere. But once that goes through, look at this, we're beyond Christmas now to 27th of December, and we're beginning to re-establish a milder west-southwesterly flow as we run up towards New Year. It turns much milder, also much more unsettled, with low pressure breaking in from the Atlantic, bringing heavy rain and potentially gale force winds there, moving up towards New Year. This, in fact, is New Year's Eve, and we've got low pressure dominating weather now. How quickly that ridge goes away. Somebody tracking low there across the south. That could bring heavy rain, possibly snow on its northern edge. Again, would depend on the exact parameters within the atmosphere. The main idea is that by New Year is much more unsettled and relatively cold too. That's how the first day of January is looking. The first day of 2020 looks unsettled. Low pressure still digging in from the Atlantic. And then just to run you through the opening days of the year, so it goes into a west-south-westerly flow, reach down in the south, probably keeps southern airs relatively dry, but in the north and west it does look very unsettled, and it turns increasingly unsettled actually as we go further into January. Gale force winds, heavy rain, but mild temperatures, really mild temperatures, with a wind coming from the southwest. Eventually, actually wind is turning from the south. That'll be a little taste of spring there by the middle of January, probably seeing temperatures up to the mid-teens Celsius, I would have thought, across southern and eastern parts of the country. So it's a mixed Christmas update, this one, but I think what we can say is that it's quite cold for Christmas itself through frost and fog. I don't think we've got a trend here at all. Every update so far has been considerably different from the last one. So this is anti-cyclonic Christmas, high pressure dominated, bringing frosty, foggy conditions for Christmas, and then very soon afterwards the Atlantic breaks through and takes us into an unsettled and potentially very mild New Year. We shall see what the 5th update for Christmas has to say, and we're going to do that on Wednesday. Right, so that's it for Christmas update. Don't forget to have a replay of a live stream and see what we was talking about on YouTube earlier on. And also you can have a look at the winter update, the 11th winter update. It's on the homepage at GarethWeathers.com right now. We'll place it on the winter updates page with a written summary in around an hour or so's time on the winter updates page. Right, that's all for now though, and thanks for watching.